Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Battle Through the Heavens based on novel. So let's start. Alliance. Yao Lao and the rest were startled upon hearing this word. They immediately contemplated the idea. Forget about the Hun clan. Just the strength of the Hall of Souls is stronger than our Falling Star Pavilion. Our Falling Star Pavilion is completely at odds with them. It is impossible to engage in an all-out war with them. Xiao Yan nodded as he softly explained. With just the strength of our Falling Star Pavilion, we have a very high chance of being defeated when the time comes. Hence, we must seek allies if we wish to fight the Hall of Souls. This will likely not be easy. The Hall of Souls is too powerful. Who else other than us will oppose them? Cai Lin knit her brows and asked. It is precisely because the Hall of Souls is too powerful that we have a chance. Xiao Yang smiled and replied. Those fellows have done many things that have infuriated others in order to collect souls. An example is the Pill Tower. They hate the Hall of Souls to their very bones. If they were not afraid of the strength of the Hall of Souls, they would have already gathered people to fight it. The Hall of Souls loved to gather powerful souls. Those with powerful souls were mostly alchemists. An unknown number of alchemists had been attacked by the Hall of Souls during these years. The Pill Tower was aware of these attacks, but they simply had to endure them. The strength of the Hall of Souls is indeed quite strong. However, the three giant heads of the Pill Tower are only Pictozuns, right? This kind of strength does not pose much of a threat to the Hall of Soul. The little fairy doctor spoke with some hesitation. This is only the outer strength of the Pill Tower. If it only had this small might, how could the Pill Tower be the holy grounds in the hearts of many alchemists? How could it stand equally with the Hall of Souls? Yao Lao suddenly shook his head and slowly questioned. He naturally boasted a deep understanding of the Pill Tower. Moreover, while Xiao Yang had spent 2 years in his retreat, that old fellow, Xian Kongzi, finally advanced to the Ban Xing class. Although he is only an initial level Ban Xing, his strength has soared. Oh? Elder Xian Kongzi has advanced to the Ban Xing class. Xiao Yang was a little surprised upon hearing this news. He mused for a moment before suddenly asking, I seem to have heard Elder Xian Kongzi mention that the three great heads of the Pill Tower had once exchanged blows with the chief of the Hall of Souls. If it was in the past when Xiao Yang did not understand the Hall of Souls, he might have believed these words. Now, he doubted this claim. Just the second Tianzuan of the Hall of Souls had reached the strength of a high-level Ban Xing. The mysterious and unfathomable chief of the Hall of Souls was likely even stronger than Ji Yu. How could Xian Kongzi and the 2 other elders deal with this kind of strength? Ha ha, that is indeed true, but they did not fight the true body of the Hall of Souls chief. Instead, it was only a part of his soul that was possessing a Hall of Souls expert. Even though he was possessing an expert's body, those 3 fellows had ended up miserably defeated. Do not mention this matter in front of the 3 of them. Otherwise, they might end up feeling embarrassed. Yao Lao involuntarily laughed as he spoke. Yao Lao looked at the little fairy doctor, and the rest after his laughter ceased. He said, an ordinary person only knows about the Pill Tower. That ordinary person would not know about the small Pill Tower inside the Pill Tower. Small Pill Tower. Upon hearing these words, the little fairy doctors group and Xiao Yang were stunned. This was the first time that they had heard about the so-called Small Pill Tower. There are not many people who can enter this Small Pill Tower. The old Xiao Yang might barely meet the requirements. Yao Lao laughed. This is because the first requirement to enter the Small Pill Tower is to be able to refine a Tier 8 medicinal pill that can summon a 7-colored pill lightning. At the same time, one spirit must have reached the soul state. 7-colored pill lightning, soul state spirit, these requirements are indeed quite harsh. Xiao Yan nodded. Before he had broken through to the Doshing class, it would have been a little difficult for him to refine a 7-colored pill lightning tier 8 medicinal pill. Hence, his old self might not have possessed the qualification to enter the small pill tower. The people inside the small pill tower are the true core of the pill tower. Their existence is the reason why the Hall of Souls has never done anything too bad to the pill tower. Those demons are all extremely old people. Even I have to bow and greet some of them when I meet them. Yao Lao faintly laughed. Additionally, my old self once stayed inside the small pill tower, but I was not used to the atmosphere, so I ended up leaving. The small pill tower does not have any overly strict rules. It is easy to leave but difficult to enter. Xiao Yang was quietly speechless. This pill tower was indeed not as simple as it appeared on the surface. A faction that could be ranked alongside the Hall of Souls was indeed extraordinary. The alliance that you have proposed is indeed somewhat workable. The relationship between the pill tower and the Hall of Souls is far worse than you have imagined. The people in the small pill tower really dislike the Hall of Souls. Oh? Xiao Yang rejoiced slightly upon hearing this. When the small pill tower had peaked back then, the tower head once accepted a disciple. This disciple only took a short 40 years to surpass many of the elders who had many times his experience, but a subsequent accident ended up exposing his identity. No one had expected that he had been sent by the Hall of Souls. After the incident was exposed, the tower head had let him off on account of their teacher-student relationship. In the end, the tower head was killed by this utterly heartless fellow with the help of some experts from the Han clan. Yao Lao softly sighed while feeling sympathetic. Xiao Yang bitterly laughed upon hearing this story. That tower head had experienced something even more miserable than Yao Lao. Due to this matter, the pill tower engaged in a big war with the Hall of Souls back then, but they had no choice but to suppress this hatred due to the terrible losses that they had suffered. This hatred has not diminished with the flow of time. Instead, it has only grown. Yao Lao softly continued, hence, it is possible to form an alliance with them to fight the Hall of Souls. Xiao Yang nodded. His eyes were filled with joy. If he got the pill tower to form an alliance with his faction, their strength would soar. They would be able to squeeze in with the super factions on the continent. Even if the Hall of Souls wished to attack in the future, they would have to carefully weigh their options first. You should not feel happy so soon. The small pill tower might really hate the Hall of Souls, but it will be immensely difficult to get those stubborn old fellows to agree to an alliance. Yao Lao involuntarily poured cold water on Xiao Yang's joyous face. We will give it a try regardless of whether it will work or not. Xiao Yang smiled. He would definitely make an attempt no matter how low the chances of success were. The Falling Star Pavilion alone was really no match for the Hall of Souls. Once the matters in the Falling Star Pavilion have been settled, I will personally accompany you to the Pill Tower. Yao Lao fondled his beard. He mused for a moment before nodding. Xiao Yang smiled and inclined his head. Yao Lao boasted a much deeper relationship with those from the Pill Tower. It would be much easier if Yao Lao revealed himself. Other than the Pill Tower, we might also be able to rope in the Flower Sect and the Burning Flame Valley. They possess extremely great reputations within the Central Plains. If we get them to join the alliance, many sects that have been harmed by the Hall of Souls will join as well. The combination of these strengths will be quite frightening. Cai Lin voiced her thoughts. She had experienced the formation of the Yang Alliance back then. She clearly understood the powerful strength such an alliance would bring. There are two Grand Elders who have not shown their faces for many years within the Flower Sect. The both of them possess the strength of a Ban Xing. Even ordinary Flower Sect disciples are unaware of their existences. Yao Lao faintly laughed. Those two old fellows owe me a favor. Adding on your relationship with Yun Yun, it should not be difficult to get the flower sect to join the alliance. Oh? Xiao Yan was very surprised when he heard that there were two Bansheng class experts hidden within the flower sect. He had not sensed their existences when he had gone to the flower sect back then. Ha ha, how is it possible to not form a foundation after having existed in the Central Plains for such a long time? An example is old demon Tian Ming from the Profound Sky sect. Yao Lao smiled. He was extremely old and had a vast number of friends back then. Hence, he was clearly aware of the old demons hidden within the various sects. The Burning Flame Valley is also not as simple as it appears. You only need to remember that the founder of the Burning Flame Valley was once a powerful existence that was not weaker than your ancestor Xiao Yan. From what I know, the Burning Flame Valley also has an ancestor. This person also possesses a high-level Bansheng strength. I am not certain whether that ancestor has become a Dosheng yet. Back then, he was a renowned existence. The corner of Xiao Yang's mouth twitched. At this moment, he finally understood that he had underestimated these factions, which had existed in the Central Plains for many years. How could they be simple if they were able to reach this stage? That person from the Burning Flame Valley is somewhat strange. He has not gotten involved in mundane matters for many years. It is not impossible to use some tricks to get him to join the alliance. Yao Lao smiled and said, that old fellow once suffered an extremely serious injury that resulted in a sequela, which has existed until now. If we can resolve his trouble, it would not be difficult to get the Burning Flame Valley to join the alliance. Xiao Yang slowly nodded after hearing this. Some excitement surfaced in his eyes. The factions they could form an alliance with boasted a strength that far exceeded his expectations. If they were able to form a large alliance with all of them, this alliance would undoubtedly become a super faction within the Central Plains. The matter of the alliance must be completed before the purifying demon lotus flame appears. Xiao Yang's eyes flickered. The Hall of Souls would definitely get involved in the matter related to a mysterious flame like the purifying demon lotus flame. If the Falling Star Pavilion did possess true capital, how could they fight the Hall of Souls? Just relying on Xiao Yang alone was not enough. A ferocious tiger could not defeat a pack of wolves. Xiao Yang's ancestor Xiao Yan had used his personal experience to teach Xiao Yang the validity of that statement. Hence, he needed to settle the matter of the alliance as soon as possible. The battle in the Star Realm had ended in an overwhelming fashion as Xiao Yang exited his retreat. Xiao Yang and the Falling Star Pavilion's reputation across the Central Plains would soar because of this big battle. He had fought 3 great Bansheng with his own strength resulting in 2 deaths and 1 injury. He had even ended up getting an elite Dosheng from the Hun clan to personally intervene in order to help the last elite Bansheng flee. The news of this battle caused the expressions of everyone who heard about it to change. In the eyes of many people, an elite Bansheng was a legendary existence, yet 2 of these experts, who seemed untouchable to an ordinary person, had been killed by Xiao Yang. Others were involuntarily shocked by these results. After this incident, no other factions in the Central Plains would easily underestimate this rising faction. Compared to the rise of the Falling Star Pavilion, the Profound River Alliance was in an incomparably dismal state. The only elite Bansheng in the Profound Sky sect had been killed by Xiao Yang. The large group of experts, who had followed the elite Bansheng to the Star Realm, had ended up dying as well. Everyone was aware that the Profound River Alliance would face difficult times ahead. With their strength, they no longer had the ability to fight with the Falling Star Pavilion, especially after losing a peak expert like old demon Tian Ming. Under this panic, many sects that had joined the Profound River Alliance began to worry all day long. Some even hurriedly withdrew from the Profound River Alliance in an attempt to draw a clear line between them. These withdrawals ended up adding insult to injury to the Profound River Alliance. Its destruction was only a matter of time. While the Central Plains was in an uproar because of the big battle in the Star Realm, the Falling Star Pavilion appeared relatively quiet. They cleaned up the mess in the Star Realm during the first few days. This large-scale attack by the Profound River Alliance had caused the Falling Star Pavilion to suffer significant losses, but these losses appeared insignificant when compared to the other party. This peacefulness lasted for 3 days, before the revenge of the Falling Star Pavilion officially began. The retaliation of the Falling Star Pavilion was led by the Doshing Xiao Yan and the Banshing Yao Lao. The Profound River Alliance suffered a complete and miserable defeat. They had even failed to form an effective defense before the Falling Star Pavilion had occupied the headquarters of the Profound River Alliance, which was also the headquarters of the Profound Sky Sect. After the chief of the Profound Sky Sect was randomly killed by a slap from Xiao Yang, everyone understood that this Profound Sky Sect, which once possessed a ferocious reputation in the Central Plains, was finished. The Profound River Alliance did not even manage to last a day before everyone within the alliance began to scatter in panic. Those small sects, who had been using the name of the Profound Sky Alliance to conduct scams, instantly changed their stances. Not only did they not lend a hand when they saw members of the Profound River Alliance, they went all out to beat them when they were down. It appeared as though they were trying to show how much they hated the Profound River Alliance. The Falling Star Pavilion was unconcerned about these fence-sitters. After taking the Profound River Alliance headquarters, the large contingent began to separate and attack the stronger factions within the Profound River Alliance, like the Ice River Valley and the Wind Lightning Pavilion. These two factions had contributed to the attack on the Falling Star Pavilion. These fellows were like the teeth and claws of the Profound Sky Sect. They were naturally not let off. This time around, Xiao Yang and Yao Lao eliminated these sects as a deterrent. Wind Lightning Pavilion. Xiao Yang remained suspended in the sky. He looked at the extremely chaotic mountain that was encompassed by a sea of fire. An indifferent expression was in his eyes. He had led an army from the Falling Star Pavilion here. Along the way, he had eliminated a couple of the claws and teeth of the Profound River Alliance. He did not show any mercy at this moment. He was clearly aware that the Falling Star Pavilion would have been many times more miserable given the methods of the Profound Sky Sect and the Hall of Souls if he had not left his retreat in time. Now was not the time to show mercy. The weak were food for the strong within the Central Plains. Only a powerful strength allowed one to survive. Xiao Yang, my Wind Lightning Pavilion has a good relationship with the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe. The Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe will definitely not let you off for daring to destroy my Wind Lightning Pavilion. An elite Dozun from the Falling Star Pavilion smashed Lei Zunja until he flew back and spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. Lei Zunja's eyes were vicious as they stared at Xiao Yang. The Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe, I will resolve my grudge with them in the future. Xiao Yang observed Lei Zunja in an indifferent manner. When he had first arrived at the Wind Lightning Mountain range, Lei Zunja appeared unreachable in his eyes. That person was an elite Dozun who could kill Xiao Yang by clenching his hand. However, both parties' positions had switched. My Falling Star Pavilion has 28 experts who died to your hands. When you killed them back then, you should have understood that this day would come. Xiao Yang lowered his head. He slowly extended his hand and aimed it at Lei Zunja. Lei Zunja's face was shocked upon seeing Xiao Yang lift his arm. He activated the 3000 lightning movement to its limit, and many afterimages appeared in the sky. 3000 lightning movement, Xiao Yang faintly laughed when he saw the many afterimages. His hand was gently clenched. Bang! Space itself immediately collapsed after his hand was clenched. An afterimage in the distance suddenly stopped as a dense blood shot out. Lei Zunja did not even emit a miserable screech, as he turned into mincemeat. Xiao Yang slowly withdrew his hand. He did not even glance at the cluster of blurry flesh. With a sweep of his eyes, a falling star pavilion elder quickly hurried over. He used a respectful voice to say, "Junior Pavilion Chief, we have managed to gain some information regarding the Han clan as you have instructed. For some unknown reason, they have been suppressed by the Wind Lightning Pavilion over the years. Currently, their clan's strength has already shrank by 90%. They could only be considered a second-tier clan in Tianbei City. Their lives are quite miserable." Xiao Yang was slightly startled upon hearing this. He immediately became quiet as an apology flashed in his eyes. He had a pretty good idea why the Han clan had been suppressed by the Wind Lightning Pavilion. It was most likely because they had been close to him back then. He had been busy training these years and had forgotten the trouble he had brought them. "Have you already sent some people over?" Xiao Yang softly sighed. He was not an ungrateful person. If Han Shui had not rescued him when he had first arrived in the Central Plains, he might have ended up dying in the desert. Although he had helped the Han clan crush the imposing Hong clan within the Tianbei city, the Han clan was then suppressed by the Wind Lightning Pavilion until it fell from a top-tier faction to its current desolate state. Elder Gan three-man team has already headed over. That elder from the Falling Star Pavilion respectfully responded. Xiao Yang slightly nodded. His eyes glanced at the northern sky. Both of his hands were placed behind him as he became quiet. Tianbei City, Han clan. Bang. The eyes of everyone from the Han clan were stunned as they looked at the three old men who had suddenly appeared. Their auras were so mighty that they were terrifying. A random wave of a sleeve was all it took to send a few experts out of the courtyard with blood flowing from their mouths. Those few experts had come to the Han clan to find trouble. They lay on the ground with unknown fates. "I am Han Kai, the head of the Han clan. May I know the reason for these elders' visit?" A middle-aged man with some white hair carefully stepped forward and respectfully inquired. Two tall and beautiful ladies stood on either side of the man. The lady on the left had long silver hair. Her lovely body appeared well-proportioned as she gave off a cold vibe. The lady on the left seemed slightly younger. Her pretty appearance revealed her extraordinary demeanor. Both of these ladies were naturally Han Yu and Han Shui from the Han clan. They were the first acquaintances Xiao Yang had found after arriving in the Central Plains. "Ha ha, clan head Han need not be so courteous. The three of us are from the Falling Star Pavilion. This time around, we have come on the orders of the Junior Pavilion Chief. May I know if clan head Han is interested in expanding the Han clan by becoming the next Wind Lightning Pavilion in this northern region?" A white-haired old man smiled as he inquired. "Falling Star Pavilion." Everyone from the Han clan was stunned. "It's him," Han Shui muttered. Her lovely figure trembled while she stood behind Han Kai. "It's Xiao Yang." Han Yu by the side also hurriedly recovered and softly explained. This name was too well known across the Central Plains. The Wind Lightning Pavilion will no longer exist in this northern region in the future. If the Han clan is interested, you can replace it. The three of us will do our best to help. The Falling Star Pavilion elder laughed. Han Kai was momentarily startled upon hearing these words. His body intensely trembled as a wild joy filled his face. The Falling Star Pavilion was soaring within the Central Plains. If their Han clan could hop onto this large tree, they would not even to bother about the old Wind Lightning Pavilion, much less the other clans. "Ha ha, Clan Head Han, please rest assured that Junior Pavilion Chief has personally mentioned this. There is no mistake." That elder laughed after seeing Han Kai's excitement grow. "Did he not come?" Han Shui bit her lower red lip with the back of her teeth. Her bright eyes looked at the elder as she softly asked. That elder from the Falling Star Pavilion hesitated for a moment after hearing her question. He shook his head. With his eyesight, he was naturally able to tell that the young lady possessed some feelings for the junior pavilion chief, but he did not know whether these feelings were one-sided or mutual. Hence, he did not dare to slight her. He quickly took 2 jade bottles from his storage ring and handed them to Han Shui and Han Yu before saying, "The junior pavilion chief instructed me to give these to you ladies. The junior pavilion chief has also requested me to thank Miss Han Shui for rescuing him back then." Han Shui's originally bright eyes dimmed as she stared at the jade bottle. She quietly nodded and took the jade bottle. Without speaking, she turned around and left. Han Yu by the side could only sigh after seeing her leave. She followed Han Shui out of the room before hugging her soft delicate waist. She always knew that this younger sister of hers had some feelings for Xiao Yan, but Xiao Yan was too dazzling. Han Yu lowered her head slightly and looked at Han Shui's curled red lips. She could see a stubbornness on Han Shui's face. This stubborn girl was unwilling to give up even at this stage. Han Yu could only softly sigh. That kind of man was not someone women like them could subdue. The revenge of the Falling Star Pavilion continued for 10 days. During these 10 days, at least 20 sects were exterminated by the Falling Star Pavilion's army. These factions, which were not very powerful, could not retaliate against the Falling Star Pavilion, which possessed a high-level Ban Xing, a 1-star Do Xing, and many top experts. The eruption of the Falling Star Pavilion violently shook many factions. In the past, the Falling Star Pavilion had maintained itself in one corner and quietly developed. It did not display any overwhelming power, causing some factions to not treat this rising faction seriously. However, the retaliation of the Falling Star Pavilion allowed everyone to understand that it was not docile. Instead, it was a ferocious tiger that would bite if angered. After 10 days passed, the Falling Star Pavilion's large army began to pull back. After all, they did not wish to massacre everyone. Necessary deaths would enable the Falling Star Pavilion to establish an imposing might, but the deaths could not be outrageous. Xiao Yan and Yao Lao had controlled the outcome relatively well. The Hall of Souls was relatively quiet, while the Falling Star Pavilion engaged in a wild revenge. They did not dispatch any experts to provide aid to the Profound River Alliance, but Xiao Yang's group did not relax. The Hall of Souls was always mysterious. It was definitely gathering its strength by not fighting this time around. Once the time was ripe, it would give the Falling Star Pavilion a truly lethal blow. Xiao Yang's group would naturally not underestimate this potential danger. Even though Xiao Yang had become a genuine Do Xing, he needed to remain extremely cautious while facing a frightening faction like the Hall of Souls and the Hun clan. If they truly wished to fight the Hall of Souls, then the matter of the alliance was the Falling Star Pavilion's top priority. Hence, 2 letters were delivered by 2 Falling Star Pavilion experts to the Flower Sect and the Burning Flame Valley while the army was gradually pulling back. Although these 2 factions were not as frightening as the Pill Tower, they were still top factions within the Central Plains. Roping them in would strengthen the alliance. There was no need to hurry to invite smaller sects. Once the 3 large factions agreed to the alliance, all of these smaller sects would naturally swarm over. As long as they set the bar a little high, a super alliance that was comparable to the Hall of Souls would be born in Xiao Yang's hands. Xiao Yang slowly sighed in relief, as he watched the figures swiftly disappear from the sky. Both of his hands were placed behind his back. All they could do was quietly wait for the offers to return. If they were unable to convince the Flower Sect or the Burning Flame Valley, their alliance would face a setback. A faint flower fragrance lingering within a large hall in the Flower Sect. This large hall might be spacious, but it appeared quite empty. Only a couple of figures were sitting in the hall. Yun Yun was present among these people, But she was not sitting in the leader's chair despite her being the sect chief of the flower sect. Instead, there were two figures currently seated in the leader's spot. The two figures were wearing pale yellow clothes. They did not look old since their skin was somewhat smooth. They had gained a unique charm, because of the faint wrinkles at the corner of their eyes. Below these two people sat the various elders of the flower sect. However, these people expressed their respect when they looked at the two pale yellow-clothed ladies, who appeared far younger than many of the elders. First elder, what do you think about this offer? The silence within the large hall continued for a moment before a lady in the leader's seat lifted both of her eyes to look at an old woman below. Her voice was faint as she inquired, and a scroll sat in front of her. The scroll displayed the unique insignia of the Falling Star Pavilion. The first elder hesitated when she heard this woman's question. She respectfully said, "Grand Elder, the current Falling Star Pavilion is very different than what they were in the past. Even our flower sect cannot compare to them in terms of strength. Even though they have grown, there is still a gap between them and the Hall of Souls. The Falling Star Pavilion and the Hall of Souls are at complete odds with each other. If we agree to the alliance, it would mean that we will oppose the Hall of Souls, and opposing the Hall of Souls is dangerous." The yellow-clothed woman nodded upon hearing this summary. She commented aloud, "I never would have guessed that Xiao Chen wasn't dead, and that he has even reached the high-level Ban Xing class. That disciple of his is even more frightening. He surpassed Xiao Chen, and reached the Do Xing class before him. Such strength is indeed stronger than our flower sect. As for that Hall of Souls, the both of us have fought with them in the past. They are indeed an extremely troublesome existence. Grand Elder, the alliance might be a little risky, but it will benefit our flower sect. The development of the flower sect has halted for many years. We have frequently been suppressed by the Profound Sky sect during these years. If we could truly form an alliance, the reputation of our flower sect will undoubtedly grow again." Yun was quiet for a moment before she softly spoke. No matter what, she needed to stand on Xiao Yan's side to help him speak. The Profound Sky sect is indeed a troublesome housefly. Back then, both Big Sister and I were only intermediate Ban Xings. Even if we were to join hands, we would only end up at a draw with that old demon Tian Ming. When Big Sister successfully reached the high-level Ban Xing, we originally planned to find that old demon to fight. Who would have expected him to end up being killed by Xiao Yan? The yellow-clothed lady smiled. Her eyes shifted to Yun, and an unknown feeling was present in the corner of her mouth. Yun, it is rumored that you and that Xiao Yan have some relationship. It would be incredible if you can pull such a person to our flower sect's side. Yun could only helplessly shake her head after hearing these words. This grand elder might appear extremely old, but she seemed to really like teasing others. This matter should be decided by Big Sister, the yellow-clothed lady smiled. She stretched her lazy waist and did not express an opinion. She tossed the ball to the lady, who had never uttered a single word since the beginning. Everyone's eyes gathered on that somewhat cold-looking woman. Yun's hands quietly tightened. Although she was the chief of the flower sect, she still needed to obtain an answer from these two grand elders when it came to such a large decision. She was aware of the Falling Star Pavilion's current situation, so she was doing all she could to get the flower sect to truly stand alongside the Falling Star Pavilion. The cold-looking woman's eyebrows twitched as many pairs of eyes shot over. A calm and simple sentence was emitted from her mouth: "Join the alliance, fight the Hall of Souls." Who? Yun sighed in relief and felt a great burden lift from her heart after hearing this short sentence. The remaining elder hesitated for a moment before nodding. "I knew that you would make this choice. Back then, you even dared to argue with teacher because of that old fellow, but you should also be clearly aware that the old fellow doesn't really care about such things." That yellow-clothed lady bitterly laughed. She waved her hand nonchalantly after the cold lady did not respond. She said, "Since Big Sister has made her decision, give the Falling Star Pavilion her reply." All the elders respectfully replied upon hearing this order. Burning Flame Valley. Alliance. Deal with the Hall of Souls. Those neither human nor ghost creatures might really be repulsive, but who would oppose them for no reason? No way. Ask them to leave. Within a quiet bamboo forest deep within the Burning Flame Valley, an old man with fire-red hair swung the scroll in his hand onto the stone table. He spoke with impatience. Tangjun and Tang Hua in front of the stone table helplessly emitted a bitter laugh, because of this old fellow's reaction. This old fellow had lived for many years, but his temper was still so hot. Cough, cough. That old man let out a couple of intense coughs after venting his temper. His face became hot. Tang Hua hurriedly stepped forward and gently pat his back. Hua is still the best. That red-haired old man's face appeared a little better after being patted by Tang Hua. He glanced at the scroll on the table and suddenly said, "That Xiao Yan is a one-star douxing. He isn't very old, right? If his looks are passable, ask him to marry Tang Hua, and this elderless elf will agree to the alliance." Bang! Tang Hua was patting the red-haired old man's back, but when she heard these words, her face turned bright red as her hand violently slammed against the old man's back. She yelled with embarrassed anger, "Old fellow, you should worry that no one will send you off when you die if you continue to spout nonsense." Cough, Hua, do not be rude, Tangjun coughed as he pouted. Being able to attain such an achievement at such an age indicates just how outstanding this Xiao Yang is, and he was even able to gather the both of you on his side. Clearly, this person has left you both with a good impression. It is not easy to satisfy the two of you. The red-haired old man laughed with a strange expression. Hua rolled her eyes and was too lazy to bother with this old fellow. She turned around and sat in a corner. "Ancestor, they have said that they will resolve the hidden trouble in your body if you agree to the alliance." Tangjun helplessly shook his head and added more to the offer. "Oh?" The red-haired old man lifted a brow upon hearing this temptation. He lazily sat on the stone chair and randomly picked up a fruit from the table. He took a violent bite and asked, "What if I don't agree?" "Don't agree, huh?" Xiao Yang said that he will still help you remove the hidden trouble in your body. Tangjun smiled as he replied. Creak. The red-haired old man's mouth stiffened as he bit into the fruit. After which, he tossed it aside with an expressionless face. He was quiet for a moment before he said in a faint voice, "This little fellow is not bad. Without this last part, there would have been no chance of me agreeing to this alliance." "Ancestor, you mean?" Tangjun laughed. "Join the alliance." The red-haired old man sat up from the stone chair. He suddenly stretched his lazy waist. A terrifying aura slowly spread from his body, reverberating across the land. "It has been many years since I have shown myself. I wonder if this continent still remember my name, Ancestor Hunyun. Part 1 end here.